Thank you guys all for being here. It's so great to see everyone. This is our last Zoom before the holidays. So if I forget for some reason to tell you, have a happy holidays and Merry Christmas and all that. And I hope everybody gets something good and expensive because I've already ruled myself out on getting any of those, but I'll be spending a lot of money. And that's what really matters, isn't it, Rick? How much you spend. I saved up $100 this year for all the kids and neighbors and stuff. Okay, so let's get rolling here with the updates. Toby, can you give me a thumbs up if you can see the slides? Awesome. Well, this is our December 7th roundtable, and certainly we appreciate you guys being here more than you realize. I know this time of year is really, really busy. So thank you for taking time out of your schedule, your December schedule, to come in here and help share your knowledge and help roundtable and discuss ideas with your fellow members. Appreciate you guys. Remember, these Zoom-based sessions that we host are always posted on YouTube. So if you do not wish to have your picture displayed to public view, you can participate with your video turned off. Otherwise, your participation serves as consent to your picture being posted. So those of you in witness protection, take care of that now. And these roundtables are all about working together, and it never ceases to amaze me how the CTE community comes together to the aid of each other. And we just really appreciate that at CTAT, and I know you guys appreciate each other. And this is season 4. For those of you, if this may be your first one, this all started out as a roundtable update, and it was so beneficial. We are going into our 4th season of roundtables. So welcome if this is your first one. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being such meaningful members. And we do have a good organization, and that's all because of the folks that we have right here on this Zoom. If you haven't signed up for the midwinter conference yet, it is not too late. Go on there, and we have went through all of the presentations, and these may be the best ever. We had, I think, 53 slots and had over 100 presentations. And what we did, we got rid of some duplicates, but we went in there, and Leslie, who is a magician at figuring out how to get these scheduled, she figured out a way to add 2 more time slots, which got us most everyone that entered one that wasn't a duplicate got in. So we have a lot of presentations. We have more content this winter than ever before, and we look forward to seeing all you guys. We're on pace to have a record turnout. I think Jamie and Lindsay and them said that we were about 20 ahead of where we were this time last year. So thank you guys. And if you're not registered, get in there and sign up, and it'll make it worth your while. We had a call for presenters, and like I just said, we couldn't have had a better turnout on the submissions. Not only did we have a lot of presentations, we have quality as well. So we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for all the submissions and all of the presentations. And I think Leslie is just about to finish slotting the presentations. And as soon as she does that, she'll be able to send you your presentation times. And if you send in multiple ones, she'll send you which ones were selected, and you'll be good to go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And also, Lindsay and Angie put together a survey that they had discovered at TSAE and the Association of Associations, or the Texas Society of Association. And that survey we sent out, a lot of times we'll have people that are in rooms that are too small. So our goal was in sending the survey out is to know which of the sessions are going to have turnouts that need big rooms. And your response to the survey was incredible, and it's really going to help us in planning. And we won't have people sitting out in the halls, or we won't have 80 people crammed in a room set up for 40. The membership campaign went fantastic for October. But if you know folks that are new to a district around you or new to your school that have taken on a new role, make sure that you tell them about CTAT. We want to be members and we want to bring them into the community. And the October membership campaign was a success. So let's talk about December 7th. Second, there's two interesting birthdays, I thought. Ted Knight, who played Ted Baxter on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. If you have never seen Ted Baxter, he was the news anchor on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and that's one of the greatest television characters in history. So take a few minutes, get on YouTube, and look at some Ted Baxter highlights. Also, today was the birthday of Larry Bird, who played forever for the Boston Celtics. And when I think about Larry Bird, I think about the great rivalry that he and Magic Johnson had, and so much so that HEB even made it into a television series. And these are actually the two lookalikes, or the two actors that played Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. Certainly, when I was growing up, when the Celtics played the Lakers, that was can't miss TV. And when the Lakers played the Mavericks back then, that was better not watch because it's going to be ugly. Also on December 7th, 1941, of course, everyone knows this. This is the day that will live in infamy. This is when Pearl Harbor was attacked. And of course, this was the start of the USA involvement into World War II. And I was reading a little bit about that last night, and I ran across a sailor that received the Naval Cross Award because during the battle, he jumped on there and shot down 3 to 10 enemy planes. They know for sure 3, and they think maybe as many as 10. And he saved hundreds and hundreds of lives, and that was Dory Miller. And he actually died in 1943, 2 years later. His ship that he ended up serving on later in the war was sunk. So I thought that was a great story, and I had never read it before, and so some good December reading there if you get a chance. Also, sorry about this, Mr. Misseldine, but in December of 1969, the Texas Longhorns, undefeated, and the Arkansas Razorbacks played the game of the century. This game was slotted to be in October, but ABC, who aired basically every college football game that was aired, they did one a week. They wanted this game, so they moved this game to December. And it just so happened that Ohio State had lost in November, which moved Texas up to 1 undefeated and Arkansas to 2 undefeated. And Penn State was actually 3 undefeated. And Arkansas got off to a 14-0 lead. And then James Street ran for a touchdown. Probably the most exciting play in college football history was that 4th and 3 that they converted to get the ball down inside the Arkansas 20. And they went for 2 on the one before, and then they scored to go up 15-14. Arkansas still nearly came back and had an interception down on the Texas end of the field. But that is the game of the century. And of course, with the Longhorns in the playoffs, that sure makes you think about it. This game was so popular. 57% of the televisions in America had this game turned on at 11 o'clock. President Nixon was there and presented Coach Royal with a plaque. It was just an incredible event that not a lot of people talk about anymore, but it truly was the game of the century. And the odd thing is that Texas went on to play Notre Dame in the Cotton Bowl that year, and Penn State turned down an invite. So Penn State, who was also invited, could have possibly had a chance to claim the national championship should they have went to the Cotton Bowl and won, but they didn't. And Notre Dame was there, and I think that was the first bowl game they'd been to by choice in 50 years or so, a long time. So anyway, congratulations to the game of the century. And just like the 69 Longhorns worked together, that's what we do in CTE. We work together to make these programs as meaningful as possible for the students across Texas. And like Neil deGrasse Tyson always says, knowledge is on the way. If you're not familiar with CTAT programming, we do the Next Gen Administrators. We have about 52 enrolled this year. We do our monthly roundtables like this. We have the professional conferences, such as the one that's coming up in San Antonio this February, and the one that will be in Fort Worth in July. We're looking forward to both of those. Can't wait, really. We also started the regional trainings. We do new teacher training. We have one in Houston area, one in the Denton area. Our plan is to do one CTE plus SPED in March. We also will do the second CTE plus finance will be in Round Rock in March. And also, if you would like to have a district program evaluation, we have some openings in the spring, but just a couple. So if you want district program evaluation, email me at mark@ctat.org. Of course, we just talked about what a success that the CTE plus finance was in Denton. And then for those of you, there's already about 60 folks signed up for this. So don't wait too late after the holidays to get signed up. And this will be in Round Rock, March 25th through the 26th. It's a day and a half. And there's a lot of new content from what was last year, school-based businesses, a lot of PEMS information that we didn't have last year. So a lot of people ask, would it be a waste to go back? And I'd say absolutely not, because the new content was, I was just sitting there thinking how good it was as I was watching the presenters. And of course, we talked about this, future trainings that we're looking at. Sometime around the week of March 6th or 7th, we will be doing a CTE plus SPED with the TCASE Association. And we will also be doing a CTE 101 for counselors, because the demand has gotten so incredible at conference. Then what we're going to do is have an overflow or an additional training in March to catch the counselors that were not able to make it to conference. Also, if you haven't went on there and saw the CTE resource library, go on there and check it out, and make sure that you're telling your teachers upload their best lessons and their best resources. It's going to take years to have this built out, but at some point, this is going to be one of the most incredible resources that we have in the state. Really looking forward to seeing this grow. Also, some breaking news. Of course, we talked about that there's a new frequently asked question that's been updated from TEA. Also, the biggest news of probably the roundtable here is that the student attendance accounting handbook has been updated or is updated, and it has changed. You do not have to have 45 minutes on every bell schedule throughout the year. The new rule is that CTE funding must ensure that CTE classes are a minimum of 45 minutes on a traditional bell schedule. So you don't have to worry about your pep rally or your early release schedule days anymore. Whatever your traditional or your predominant bell schedule is, those classes have to be 45 minutes in order for students to receive funding that are in those programs. The regional program study application is open through January 12th, 2024. And of course, if you have an idea for a regional program study, you need to work with your ESCs. Those guys are the gurus, and all those are approved at the regional level through the ESCs. And Chelsea or Amanda, if y'all have anything to add when we get into the deal about the regional programs study, be sure and make a note of that now. Also, the CTE lookup tables are available. And if you go in there and you click that link, then you'll go in there. And I clicked on like vendor instructions and just some of that. It's some pretty good information if you never looked at it. Also, the TEA is going to have the Career Tech Engagement Opportunities. And this is 6 in-person events. I encourage you to make sure that you make one. It'll be in Fort Worth on January 16th. January 18th will be San Angelo, Kilgore. Brian, you'll have to buy donuts probably for that one, since your town is hosting on the 22nd of January. Lubbock will be the 24th, San Antonio the 30th, and February 1st, it'll be in Victoria. So make an opportunity, go there, listen to what the new state plan ideas are, and give your input. I know that they take it and they use your input. So make sure that you do that. And we appreciate the TEA folks for making that opportunity available. And going back to this, we appreciate the TEA folks for making that change, because Marcette and them, they heard from you guys, they listened to what would make it right to where everyone could be in a compliance, and they went back and made that change. So we really appreciate the leadership there at the Texas Education Agency for listening to our members and making things right, or workable at the very least. We haven't talked a little bit about the Texas Virtual School Network courses. And of course, these offer opportunities that students can take courses that they might not have access to at their school, because maybe their school is too small, or the campus that they're at doesn't offer that program of study. They'll help the students become concentrators and completers. And the Texas Virtual High School, or the Texas Virtual School Network courses are also received CTE funding. They're approved for CTE funding. And of course, if you click on that link where it says here, if you click on the CTE courses link, then it pulls this up and it has the courses that are offered listed by programs of study. And so it's a pretty good offering now. It's really impressive. It's grown. I can remember when it was just, they had a couple of health science classes on there and that was it. So that is a really impressive list of courses that students have access to. Don't forget the phase-in for IBCs. This year's graduates have to have one course level 2 or higher in a line program of study with the IBC for it to count. Next year's graduates will have to be concentrators in an aligned program of study of their IBC. And then the 2026 graduates, which would be this year's sophomores, will have to be completers in an aligned program of study in order for the IBC to receive accountability points A through F. Also, don't forget that the program of study crosswalk changes are on there. And of course, these will go into effect for 24-25. And click on there and you can see all of the changes on one sheet. We certainly appreciate TEA getting that up. So as we're planning course catalogs for next school year, we'll be able to use this document. Also, one of the things that I mentioned at the last roundtable, I thought I would share it one more time, is if you go on to the IBC page and you scroll down, they have a new spreadsheet on there that tells you all the IBCs earned for the graduates from 2017 to 2021. And I think this is good information because it will tell you what IBCs are the most frequently earned in the state. So if you have a floral teacher that tells you that, hey, that floral certification knowledge base is just unachievable by the students, then you can share with the teacher, well, 4,764 students had it last year, so it's somebody's doing something right. I think it's good information. And so as you're planning out your programs of study, use that chart and see what's very attainable. Miss Carroll put on there that the class of 2025 have to be concentrators, and that is in the chat. I'm going to go back to that. Yes, the class of 24, which is this year's one course, the class of 2025 have to be concentrators. So you're exactly right. Okay. I think about when Santa, sometimes when you order stuff on the phone, things get mixed up. And I think that happened to Santa the other day. Called the employment agency and asked for 100 elves, and that's what they sent him. I think they misunderstood. We appreciate you guys. I'm going to exit now, and we'll get back into the big community. I'm going to stop share. And here we are in the gallery and ready for discussion. Are y'all just too excited after that great update?
I was going to ask Mark, I looked on the SA Student Attendance Counting Handbook. Where is that? It wasn't in the change document. Is that something that's still going to be uploaded, or?
Yes, that's something to be updated. And
Okay.
I'm sorry, Justin, I didn't look today, but that did come out in the TEA newsletter. That's not something I typed up. That came out from TEA, and that goes through so many levels of vetting now. I know that it's correct. So it's probably will be in the next errata or the next change, or but it will be updated, is what the language said. Thanks for letting me know that that wasn't updated yet. Yeah. Thank you guys very much. Anyone have any other good topics they want to talk about? It 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 does mention the level. The level 2 doesn't apply for the 2025 graduates because they'll be concentrators. I guess they could have 2 level 1s. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, it doesn't say that, but I guess if you're a concentrator, you're a concentrator. At some point, you have to have an advanced course to be a completer. Good catch there, Rick. Anyone have any conference questions, or let's see, Lisa, Amanda, or Chelsea, do y'all have any thing to talk about that around the uh, regional programs of study? Chelsea, go ahead, Lisa. I'm sorry. I think you're muted, or oh, we still can't, or I can't hear you. Can anybody else hear Lisa?
Can you hear me now?
Now we can. What'd you do?
I don't. It's Zoom seems to be wanting me to re-click on the same stuff today. Um, we're just happy that they provided the extension, because getting all of those letters of support in here at the holiday time was pretty tight turnaround. So that extension to submit on January 12th is a big help. Period. In the past, you could apply as an individual district, and then it would get to be the benefit of everybody in your region, but they're not letting people do that this year. So you have to submit your application through your service center. You may be the one doing some of the work because you want it and you're doing that background work, but your service center has to submit the application.
Thank you, Lisa. Are y'all asking for anything new? You're re-upping cosmetology and the drone.
We are, and we're working on a brand new one, electronics technology, that'll align to going into work in some types of general manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, but very specifically to work on chip manufacturing, because so much of that is coming to North Texas.
I'll be darned. I hate technology. Amanda, what about you guys? Do y'all have anything going at your service center?
We are renewing cosmetology and maritime for our areas. I actually submitted ours today because we had our letters in. You have to have an MOU as well to send in that application. So, I'm going to mimic what Lisa said. Just if you guys can help support your ESC person by getting those letters and any labor market info you want to share or MOUs, then that's all we need.
I was visiting with Jennifer Edenfield on another set of courses issues, but they said that they were adding maritime in Galveston. Seems to be a good fit.
We have so many ports, Galveston, Houston, Beaumont, Orange, Port Arthur, all right here in our Southeast Texas area. So maritime is huge.
That really is incredible. That's really impressive that those schools are adding that. Rick, all I know is that it blows too hard to play very good down there on the coast.
I have a question regarding that. We're looking at the GIS certification in our region today. And the only industry-based certification on the TEA list for GIS is sunsetting in 2024. If we put a suggestion for an IBC to align with GIS, is there any, that still wouldn't get added to the list until TEA does their next update, is that correct?
My understanding of it is that it has to align to an IBC that's already on the list, if it's going to align to an IBC. And then keep in mind, Rick, is that I don't think TEA is going to go through that process of adding certifications. So like originally it was going to be every 2 years that some would go off and some would go on. I think that has been squashed. So I think it's just going to be as needed or not. Chelsea, is that what you guys heard too?
That is our understanding. However, I was under the understanding that originally that every 2 years came from legislature. So I'm not sure how that will stand in the future and what that means moving forward.
Well, that's a good point, and I'd have to go back and look, but I know that TEA had they had the ability to design the programs of study and make the list, and so that'll be interesting. We'll see how that goes.
The challenge for us would be, like, as a district, I'm not going to be allowed, is probably a strong word, but I'm not going to be allowed to add a program of study if there isn't a continuing IBC aligned with that program of study. And so for GIS, that doesn't currently exist.
Yeah, that's a tough wicket.
Rick, what if you had a level 1 cert that they can earn through dual credit alignment at the community college?
That would be the other option. Yes.
9 hours at least. Good thought, Lisa.
Yeah, this is Kathy. I do notice that Maritime's in the same situation. Their only IBC listed is the OSHA 30 that expires this year too.
I was going to bring that up. When I did my application, that's one of the things I spoke to and suggested a couple of them, if they wanted to look at that going forward. And if I remember right, we talked about that in one of our meetings that that we knew OSHA was going away. And I think some things might have been being looked at, but we'll just kind of have to wait and see. It's never good to have a program if you don't have an IBC out there. I don't think that's the thought, is to leave something without anything.
Yeah, I bet you're right, Amanda. That makes sense. Miss Herron sent me a message and says that she is on vacation and has spotty Wi-Fi, but she wants to know, are there any districts being asked to create standards for AI, that's artificial intelligence, Rick, for AI to be incorporated into CTE programs of study, and what information or resources are they using? I do know from the CTAT end that we have a couple of different presentations on AI, but I don't think, Ms. Herron, if I'm reading that question right, what they're wanting to do is create district policy on AI. Anybody have a AI district policy they're willing to share? I gotta tell you, I'm glad I graduated Mr. Stewart from high school and college before they had cell phones and AI, because I couldn't keep myself from using both of them.
Me too. Cell phones didn't come out until I was in college, so.
Yeah, there's no way I would have graduated with either one of those going on. Miss Herron, what if you can hear, or if it's too spotty, if you can't, just I may put it in there for you, but I think the CTAT Connect forum would be a great place to put that question, because somebody's doing some kind of school policy with AI, and I think most of the folks are just waiting to sit back and see what everyone else does. Brooke says that they're doing a PTEC for level 1 surveying, and I guess, Brooke, is that through Ag? If you're still on here. She may be driving, but that is very interesting, and those are good jobs. Ms. Brown says they're investigating adding AI at the CTE Center as part of a course, it sounds like. And Oscar out in El Paso says that Region 19, they're working on policy and guidance. So Oscar, thank you so much for that. And Oscar, if as that progresses, would you mind sharing kind of what you're running into as you get there? Oscar is starting to work on his doctorate degree. And so congratulations there, Oscar, and good luck on finishing that dude up. Miss Patterson at Arlington says they have formed a committee working on policy guidance for AI. Same thing, Miss Patterson, if you will, kind of keep us updated on what you guys are running into. Okay, Miss Herring,
Hey,
did you
Rick.
see Oscar's email? Miss Herring, if you can grab that out of the chat, and if you can't, I have his email. You can email me. But Oscar has a lot of resources and stuff you might could use. Go ahead, Mr. Mackey. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say go back to the land surveying. I think that's a great plan for those of you that have it. I know we have several advisory members that are one in particular that are offering jobs to our students coming directly out of school with very minimum training. So no cert, no nothing. They'll bring them on. And we did talk about some concrete testing things that they can do for land surveying. So anyone that's starting that program, I know that the IBC is a big push, but honestly, it's the experience that they may gain from a work-based learning side, and the fact that there are legit jobs out there for these students.
That's fantastic. And Brooke put in the chat that it's geospatial engineering and it's a regional program of study. So check with your ESC or check the regional program of study website. And Rachel, when staffing, I assume that that's going to be a work experience thing, just like Justin was talking about earlier. That's always the challenge when you have these specialty programs. Brooke, if you can type in there, Rachel asked, how are you going to staff that spot? What's your thoughts? Awesome. What else do you guys have on your mind? Those are great topics. Also, Ms. Charles put in there that Region 7 is a great resource for AI, and she has put the chat, the link to that in the chat. And Rachel, if you're looking at the chat, Brooke put in there that they're going to staff it with part-time employment with a local industry partner. Well done. Y'all are going to give Mark Parkinson the big head. I think he invented artificial intelligence. What else do you guys have?
So I'm wondering if anyone here has had any with the EKG IBC. We incorporated this semester in our health science theory courses. And, you know, we bought the machines, we trained the teachers, we got the consent forms, but we didn't prepare for what do we get if we have an abnormal result. And yesterday we had an abnormal reading and a teacher called us and, you know, our director and my director, myself, Ms. Sanchez, we spoke to the teacher, we had notified administrators, spoke to the nurse, they assessed the student, called parents, but we have nothing in place. And today we were kind of coming up with forms that we can have in place on proper procedures on what to do in case of that. We've been told that we're supposed to be in affiliation with a doctor to refer them to, but we don't know if there's anything set in stone or if there's something that a district is already doing currently for any abnormal readings.
So Claudia, your concern is really about the health of the student, right?
Absolutely.
And so that what you're saying, that same form could apply to like an EEG or EKG, a bad reading. It can also apply to really high blood pressure or something like that. So it could be universal, right? So what you're doing is you're trying to find out if anyone already has forms or a policy developed. Is that correct?
That, and if when we were speaking to our director for nursing, since this is all new, she was wondering if do we have to be affiliated with the doctor so that we refer them, the students that have an abnormal reading, or if that's just, you know, a regular nurse referral that we would give in any other situation. So I guess we want to know, is there anything out there that tells us specifically what we need to have in place, because we are having these screenings at the high school campus, right? And we, you know, we didn't think it would happen this soon, that we were going to have an abnormal reading, but it happened to us yesterday.
You know, you might even run that. I'm sure your school has some type of attorney on retainer. You might run that through whoever your school district uses, because there's going to be HIPAA rules and stuff involved in that too.
I'd be curious about the liability involved in actually referring students to a doctor. You know, I agree with you, Mark, that probably school attorneys should be consulted, because to me it seems like there should be a release form that's being signed stating that this is students learning, that results will be given to the student, but further action is the responsibility of the student and family. Certainly, we would want to, you know, encourage the student to seek medical attention, but I would caution about being responsible for making that direct doctor connection rather than responsible for giving the information. I definitely consult an attorney too.
And I think you're hitting it right on the nail, because we did consult with our attorney today. We do have that consent form, and it says exactly what you're saying, that this is just for educational purposes, that our students cannot interpret or give specific advice. So in any other cases that we have a student that might be referred to the nurse and the nurse feels that there's a concern, there is a medical referral form, but just simply stating, you know, we recommend you go check your primary care physician, but nothing too specific, nothing that ties us to anything. So we have all of that, but we were just wondering, is there anything else? You know, are we missing anything else, or if there's anything that you all would recommend if you've already come across that?
Claudia, Justin put in the chat there that they have a form for phlebotomy double stick accidents. So you could use a form like that and adapt it to your situation. Justin, do you mind sticking your email in the chat?
It's a really great question. I'm glad you brought it forth too, because there's a lot of us that are doing programs like that. And congratulations to you for being the first to come across an abnormal read. And thanks for sharing your experience with us.
Oh, you're welcome.
Mr. Stewart, I'm glad they didn't take EKG readings on me in high school too.
I think it said something about pulmonary. I can't remember what term, and I'm a former health science teacher, but I can't remember what term exactly, but it said pulmonary something. I don't know if it was embolism or pulmonary something. So we're like, holy moly, like we can't ignore this for sure. But our nurses, of course, were concerned, because they were like, okay, tell us more about what's going on. So of course you realize, looking at the bigger picture, we have to make sure that we have procedures so we're all, you know, on the same page. And we're a pretty big district, you know, 42,000. So we come across a little bit of everything. So that's where we're at.
I would for sure get a turn, but I can't imagine a scenario where you wouldn't involve the parent. So, but I'd let a lawyer tell me that. Yeah,
Fully agree, Mark.
Yeah, we do have permission forms. So those were in place already, but we didn't put anything in there if an abnormal reading, you know, occurs. So I did speak with the attorneys today, and I think we're just going to adjust those forms and put that in there. And exactly like you said, he mentioned the same thing for liability purposes.
Gotcha. Fantastic. You know,
once we have them, I had posted that question yesterday in the chat. And once we finalize them, I'll share them in case anybody wants to piggyback from them. I got some of them actually from Pflugerville, that they already had one. So I've been just combining things that will work better for our district.
awesome. Thank you guys so much. That's a great topic that I can't believe it hasn't come up before. We've just been lucky or unlucky, like Florida State, right, Rick? Well, I slept really good that night. I'm glad I didn't live in Florida State.
I've got a buddy that's a diehard Seminole fan.
Oh,
He's still not happy at all.
This is so. I hate that. Just going to throw this out there. This is coming from Frank at ESC9. AI can create a form. It will need a revision, but usually a good start. And I think that that's a great point, and that's going to be one of the best things is for AI is to give us drafts of email, drafts of forms, drafts of PowerPoint presentation. Just giving you a draft of something sure is going to save you a lot of time. Okay, what else do we have going? Anybody have anything for the general public here? I do know I see Miss Swanson down there at the bottom right. We have a couple of presentations at conference that are targeted specifically to charter schools. And so if you're a charter school out there, I think you're going to have a couple of good workshops to go to, going to have some good content. I think it's really going to be incredible. So we appreciate you guys. And if there's nothing else for the whole group, then I think I'm going to stop the recording. Going once. Recording stop. Thank you, guys.